legends where magic meets the heart. Commander's Pod, where the stories unfold, with heroes and villains new and old. Dungeon Jeff and Sloan got the word, in the world of EDH we play.
Hello everyone, welcome to Commander's Pod again. My name is Duncan, I'm your pod father.
I'm Sloan.
And I'm Jeff.
And thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about 10 cards that define the format. We're going to come up with them as we sit here. I think we all have some ideas. We're going to talk them over and these are cards that they are so much a part of Commander you couldn't possibly think of banning them, even if they're super powerful. So that's our main topic. We'll have Aggro Jeff. We'll talk about whether tournaments might be in the future for EDH now that they have the tier system they're working on. And some pro tips, and that's about it. So let's get into it. Aggro Jeff, what's aggravating you this week?
Well, I think that one of the main things that's aggravating me is that I would like to understand why they're making the choices they are for Secret Lair. Not like they're going to call us and be like, what's your opinion, and do what I want. But more like, just help us understand the vision behind it. Like, what is the way you're choosing these cards? I'd like to know. And I think a lot of other people would like to know too. Because they come out with sets and you're like, okay, well, that seems kind of cool. Right now they got something called dogs or cats or something like that going on.
Right.
The cards in it, in my opinion, are terrible. I would just like to know, how did you choose these cards? Like, if they said to me the artist chose the cards because they wanted to do a certain piece of artwork, that would make sense. But I feel like someone sitting behind the scenes with a calculator trying to figure out how to fleece us for the most amount of money, and I just don't like it. So I'd like to know why they're choosing it. And if they came out and told us, we would at least know. Sometimes
I feel like they choose them based on what can we print that won't cause any waves at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Won't affect the market because nobody cares about these cards.
That's right.
That's
I do think they're doing
that.
I think so. Because you're selling unique cards that are supposed to be things you chase, and they're not worth chasing. And then it's just frustrating. Just tell us what you're doing. It's not that hard. Just tell us why. And if you don't know why, tell us we don't know. We rolled the dice. And, hey, nerds will respect that. If you rolled the dice and made a decision, I could go with that.
We used a computer algorithm to come up with it.
Great. Wonderful. Just tell us something. This is ridiculous what y'all are doing. Crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes you get it. Sometimes it's like, oh, the wording fits the theme.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like this I don't understand.
Yeah. I can get on board with that one.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's another one where I agreed with Jeff on this.
And magic related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're up to like 4.
Yeah, and 50-something episodes.
Yeah.
So
57.
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, some would say that's 4 too many.
All right. Let's move into our counterspell segment. So I think one of the things they're trying to do with the tier brackets are make it so we can have tournaments in EDH. And do you think that will happen, and how do you feel about it?
So until you proposed this idea, I didn't really think about the brackets that way. But the way it's set up, it kind of is a pseudo casual ban list, non-casual ban list. When you think about it, right? Because the game changers, they're not banned. They're perfectly legal cards, and if you want to play them with your buddies, you're more than welcome to. But if we go into a tournament, and let's say the tournament is a Tier 3 tournament, everyone knows this is the requirements for a Tier 3.
Yep.
Right? And so when you proposed this question, at first I thought, well, you know, how does the brackets really change that? But then when you think about it, they kind of did it. They made a casual ban list and a non-casual ban list without actually saying the word ban.
Yep.
And so by doing that, I do foresee this, if this ends up being the system that we stick with and they finalize and confirm and we kind of get the final product, hopefully whenever that happens, we're not sure. But if this is the final product that we end up going with, but a little bit more refined, I do think it's a really good way to do tournaments, and not only just like CEDH versus non-CEDH. You could have multiple different types of tournaments with this bracket system.
Right.
You could have a a bracket 2 tournament. You could have a
a silly tier 1 tournament.
you could have
I mean,
a
I wouldn't because
so-
those
So
games
you
would
guys
take
are saying
forever.
this because tier 2 has no game changers.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you can pick any bracket you want now, and you can build a tournament for
Except
that bracket.
For 4 and 5, that's still
Four,
money.
4 and 5 is still pretty much interchangeable for the
And
most
3
part.
isn't banned; it's just limited.
Right, but
Right.
it's a restricted list.
But-
you
Yes.
can only have 3 of the cards on this
Right.
list.
So the advantage of even if you did a tier 3 tournament, we'll use
Mm-hmm.
tier 3 for example. You know for a fact no one is coming to that tournament with more than 3 game changers in their deck. So
Right.
you know that for the most part, this is a pretty balanced tournament. There's not going to be one person who will just pub stomp anybody because he has 30 game changers and other people don't. There's only 3 allowed. And so I do see.
But they've said this is not a rule. As soon as they do that, it becomes a rule.
No, it's not a rule.
No.
It's a rule for the tournament.
It's a rule for the tournament. So if you go to run the tournament, it's the same thing. And I'm going to use disc golf here because I play disc golf. There are certain rules that you're allowed to
Search in
apply.
the woods for your disc.
There's certain
Not disc
rules
Your Frisbee.
you're allowed to apply in a tournament if you want to that are not technically PDGA rules. And so that is how this works. These are not Wizards of the Coast rules. They are guidelines. But a tournament could take this and say, we are abiding by the Wizards of the Coast bracket 3 guidelines for this tournament. Your deck will be submitted and it must meet the bracket 3 guidelines. If it does not, you cannot use it in this tournament.
Right.
Again,
And your gameplay must match the guidelines.
well,
You
I mean,
can't chain extra turns or you,
right, yeah. And so, you can have a couple tutors, you can have a couple of extra turn cards, but again, they can't be chained and you can't do early game combos. You can do late game combos. Again, the vague one that we don't like.
Yeah.
But I do foresee this being a really good platform to distinguishing casual tournaments to CEDH tournaments.
Right.
And just really tournaments in general, because I think when you proposed this question, I was like, they kind of did what we were talking about. They made a casual ban list,
Yep.
but they didn't.
Right.
So
I kind of get what you guys are saying, but they're going to have to clean up these because like 3 says late game 2-card infinite combos. In a tournament, you're going to have to define.
You're going to have to
game
find
more.
that. You're going to have to say
Right.
So-
nothing before.
and
turn
again,
7.
we are
And also few tutors. So okay, you're gonna have to put I understand what I think the word few means, but yeah, I could see. I don't think they built it for that reason, but I do think it could be used for that reason.
right.
I think they did.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And again, with this being in a beta, it's kind of hard to say why they did what they did. I do know that the ultimate core goal behind this, which was in the article we read, was they wanted to make sure they helped players have an enjoyable experience when playing Commander.
Which
That
does make that easier, I think.
So
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
But how would you feel if they did use it for tournaments?
I don't have a problem.
I
think
mean,
that's great.
I think it is a good idea. I think it's a great way to really test the waters of it. I think that's probably the best way to test the
I
bracket
might
system.
be more apt to join a tournament if it was a tier 3 or really actually tier 2. Because I feel like then it's truly casual. Like, yeah, I'm trying to win, but I'm definitely playing with a casual deck. The only problem is you're going to have those people like you've talked about they're not respecting the purpose of the rule. They're gonna still come in and pub stomp. They're just gonna look
right,
what
but
I can
some
do
of
with
those
the tier
rules
2.
do still hinder them from doing that.
Right.
No early game combo.
Like I would,
Some
so
of
for example, because you brought up bracket 3, can you read bracket 3 real quick? Because you said a few tutors, right?
No mass land denial, no chaining extra turns,
Okay.
which again you have to define chaining. When does it become a chain?
when it's more than one.
Well, then just say no
One at a
putting.
time.
Yeah, one at a time. One and then another one.
No.
Late game 2-card infinite combos, and again, what infinite combo? So you could have a late game 2-card. You could have an early game 2-card combo. It just can't be infinite. And then 3 game changers are allowed.
So the 3 game changers is straightforward. 3 game changers, that one's easy. Few tutors, I would say 3 or less.
It
Right?
doesn't say that. No,
Right.
3.
I'm saying, but like let's say we're setting up a
you're
tournament.
going over to 2.
Right.
2
So
is a few tutors. You were talking about 3. 3 doesn't have that.
3 doesn't have any. So
You got
3
as
has
many
no
tutors as
tutors
you
as
want.
limits. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So let's say 3. So 3 game changers. We're setting up a tournament in a bracket 3. You have 3 game changers. Self-explanatory. Late game combos. I'd say what? Turn 7.
Yeah.
Infinite combos after turn 7.
It says, that's more defined, which
Right.
is what we're saying.
And
That's
then-
what they would do.
And then I would say they would say for what was the other one?
no
you said?
chaining extra turns.
You cannot.
There has to be at least a turn between each extra
Yeah,
turn.
you cannot have multiple extra turns in a row, meaning if you have multiple extra turn spells, you can only cast one on each of your regular turns, and then another round of the table has to go through before you can do another extra turn spell.
Which is even better because like you want to word it that way. So someone doesn't do extra turn on my turn, extra turn on your turn, extra turn on your turn.
Right.
Because 100% they'll do that. And that's the problem with it is they've talked about this bracket being for casual play. It makes it easier to have a tournament, but there are still challenges.
Sure, and I think, but the point is like this is still, I would feel like, casual play, but this for those people who want to be able to maybe do it more competitively, but they don't have the resources or income to make a competitive deck to actually do real
I
EDH.
do like that.
It still gives you a way to do that, right? Because
Yeah.
I myself am I compete in everything. I play disc golf. I expect to go out there and shoot 18 under every single time. I know it's absolutely
So
absurd.
he's always unhappy.
I am. I'm always unhappy.
Have you not noticed that?
Yeah, no, I know.
I mean, I am a really unhappy person. But no, I mean, the same thing applies even when I play Magic, right? Like you said, yes, we do it for fun, but I still want to win every single game. I don't ever want to go out and just be like, you know what? My intentions tonight is to lose every game. Don't care. Like, I'm never going to think
really?
that.
Yeah,
You might want to change your gameplay then, because it's not sending that
Well,
message.
people started crying when I started playing decks that let me win every
Well,
game, so
so-
I had to change it up a little bit.
But sometimes people mix it up. They think
Right.
competitive means that's just in this sense that competitive versus casual means in one I don't care if I win, and in the other one I care if I
Right.
win. But that's not really how a lot of us view
And
it.
a tournament
a
does
lot of
not
us
have to be competitive. I mean, it's a tournament, so it is competitive, but it can still be a casual tournament. People want to be able to play and to win prizes and to,
yes,
you
and
know.
if it was that, I'd like to try it. And if it was that, great, I would enjoy that. But I would be afraid of the pub stompers coming in and ruining the experience for everyone.
Right.
Because it's not, the casual player still is competitive. They're just saying, I have put rules for myself within this deck. So it's not, it might be optimized within my rule set, but I've created a series of rules that says this game might take longer because we're going to have more randomization within this deck.
Right.
Which makes it more complicated to play because you don't always get the same exact cards, right? You got to figure it out. You're always
Right.
figuring it out. And I think that's more fun. That's why I like casual.
Yeah, and again, yeah. So I think that this is something you could use for tournaments. I think it's something that specifically could encourage people who maybe, again, want to have a goal for winning. You know, I don't want to say they want to be competitive because, you know, the way we're trying to define that. But basically, they want to be able to go into a tournament and play and have a good time and still compete and try to win without having to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a deck to do so, right? Because, and again, the other thing is too, with it being a more casual tournament, you could very easily make the prize, you know, not something as crazy as what a, you know, competitive tournament prize may be. You know, you can make it, you know, maybe maybe not even like a special secret layer deck. Maybe just like a regular, like maybe you get 2 of the commander decks.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you know, what is that? Like maybe $80 value you get back if you win. Like, you know, so I do think this is something that could very easily be used and turned into a good way to set up tournaments that makes the rules a lot easier to understand and be defined because they did a pretty good job of
And the problem is
clarifying
now stores have tried to do tournaments, and you say, okay, the rules are basically it's not CEDH. Do not bring a CEDH deck.
right.
Yeah, how do you
And
define
then
that?
yeah, exactly. Or
Yeah.
they'll say some of these rules but not all of these rules. They'll say, you know, they'll ban Das's Oracle and certain key combos, but there's always
But they'll
more.
miss other combos, and someone
Yeah.
will figure out another combo. That's
Yeah.
why that figuring out the wording on that late 2-game combo, and we've talked about it in other episodes. You guys can go back and watch them. About it's not just infinite combos; it's combos in general. But you have to define what a combo is,
Right.
right? Because some people think
They
when you
only
play
mention
2
infinite.
cards that synergize together, then it's a combo, and it's not. It's synergy.
Well, if 2 cards make you win, it's a combo.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Some people think it's just 2 cards that work
Right.
together. That's synergy. There's a
Right, and I
difference.
think they didn't want to get into that, and that's why they didn't talk about 2-card combos. But I think it was implied that some of those 2-card combo wins like Thassa's Oracle, you can't do a turn 2 or 3 in tier 3.
You would hope so, but again,
Yeah.
they give them time, they'll do this. But yeah, Duncan, that's a good idea. You thought of this. I mean, it does certainly make tournaments more likely. I disagree with you slightly that I don't think that was their intent, but if I'm wrong, that's
I think
kind
it
of
was
cool.
one of their intents or one of their. This can also do this.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
If
it could
was,
it could have been a
that's neat.
happy side effect.
Right. Now, what about the idea of like a world champion? Is that taking it too far for Commander?
No, why? I think it's great.
Do a world champion tier 3, world champion
Sure.
tier 2?
Yeah, and again, I think
Could
that's
you imagine the world champion and he wins with a tier 1 world champion and he won with a chair deck?
yeah, right.
Or
Right,
like a
but of course-
T-pose deck?
It took him all
That-
year just to play
The crown
that
for
one
the
game.
the crown for the bracket 1 championship though is just a jester hat.
No, I mean, but whoever
like
who,
it would almost have to be tongue in cheek. But
if
yeah,
you
I mean,
win it, you win it. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. I
wear
think they
your
should do that.
jester crown proudly.
I wonder if that would generate more buzz than some of the other championships. To
I-
be wholly honest with you.
I can almost guarantee you that if they somehow iron this out cleaner, there would be a lot more people interested. I guarantee you the bracket 1 would probably be the most played tournaments because people would want to try to make the craziest thing and try to win with
but
it.
I will tell you, I still I don't know how much tournaments run Magic anymore. I know there's a part of us that wants to go back to that, and I get it because it's so iconic and it's so cool. And there's actually a Magic Hall of Fame. You guys probably knew that. Some of you may not. All that's very cool, but I just don't know that that's where it is anymore. I mean, when was the last time you guys paid attention to any tournament?
Me, because I go to the Magic Cons and usually they have.
And you know who won
Yeah.
and what deck they were using?
Well, yeah.
Like, because I've gone, even if I care about the Magic Con, I don't care about that.
Well, it's there going on while you're there. So
Yeah.
even tertiary, you figure it out.
I guess. But what I'm saying is, unless you're there, which the vast majority of players are not, it just is, you just don't care. I don't think. But
I
could
I
be
would
wrong.
say for me, the tournament is more of a draw for like my local shop than it is for me to go travel and do it on like a bigger stage, right? Like, if the convention comes into Tampa or something like that, and I happen to be able to get up there for that weekend and maybe enter into a tournament, sure, I might do it.
But
But
winning in your shop is just as good to you.
yeah, like for
if not
me,
better.
it's more about playing in like my local shop and having a tournament there and getting a chance to maybe get some stuff there and kind of, because to me, one of the cool things would be almost like bragging rights at your shop. You're the tier 3, you're the bracket 3 champion right
I guess
now.
my point is, I don't
You
know
know.
why you need that. We know who plays well at the shop. It's like, I don't need a tournament to tell me that. And I just think a lot of times when I'm playing, there are times, believe it or not, where you make decisions for other people. Like, you don't take the win, you don't do this, you don't do that.
That wouldn't
And-
happen in a tournament, probably.
No, and so that's the things I like, and I don't want to lose that.
It's
in a
funny you
tournament.
say that because I remember our conversations
know,
early on.
yeah.
You're like, I don't want to let somebody win.
It's still hard for me.
I don't
but
want to
it's-
let them do their combo just to watch it.
Yeah, it is hard for me to let others win, but sometimes you help them when you shouldn't. And
Right.
you wouldn't do that in a competitive tournament. Matter of fact, unless I'm trying to, I don't even know how much I'd talk to them in a tournament. And that just would not be
I
fun
mean,
to
I
me.
talk when I'm in tournaments.
It's also
I mean,
so
I think you
sweaty.
absolutely would talk because you would 100% politic the entire table.
Yeah,
Oh,
remember, it's a
100%. But I
four-player
wouldn't
game.
talk for fun. Like, it would all be business, That's so fun.
But you'd make it look like you were doing it for
Oh,
fun.
100%. But it wouldn't be that relaxing
Yeah,
for
no,
me.
I hear you, but you already do that a little bit. Duncan,
little
what's that card? Really? Can I read that?
Yeah, I've told everybody I
Yeah,
do that.
I know.
It's no secret.
Anyway, so it's just something, that I've been realizing and some of my friends have been realizing at the shop. And it's like, yeah, no, it's true, but what's that mean? Let's move into our main topic. Let's do 10 cards that define the format. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you the first topic, Soul Ring. I mean, I think that's got to be number one.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to pick Soul Ring.
So-
Everybody's literally said it's the iconic card of this format.
Yep.
But moving on from that,
I think the second one, though, is kind of also Arcane Signet, right?
Mana Crypt, right? Oh, we're not talking about
yeah,
banned
yeah.
cards. My
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
My bad. bad.
Arcane Signet is the second card that's in the most amount of decks after Soul Ring, which is interesting. So
And
I
it's
think,
made just for Commander.
I think there is some truth to that. But are
agree
we
with
supposed to
both
give
those.
our picks now?
Yeah, so
I
I
mean, we
mean,
kinda
I think
just-
those first two are kind of
Yeah, I mean,
givens.
I would. It would be hard to argue those two out of the 10. Like those are, I think, pretty much set. There's
Yep.
no way you're getting rid of
So,
those.
so Jeff, what's your nomination?
Mine is Swords to Plowshares.
I think that's an auto include.
So it's
Yeah.
it's from Alpha,
Yep.
so it's original. It's in 63% of decks. And it's one of those cards that's iconic because that term Swords to Plowshares is actually very historical. And so it has a lot. It's a very interesting card altogether. And it's powerful enough, but not many people complain about it being too powerful. And so it's just a really good card.
And the thing that's funny, and we talked about this off air, to me, Path to Exile is like right there with it. It does the same thing. Now the side effect is the only difference. And most people say, well, you're ramping them if you use it. But late game, I know we disagree on this, but late game, I feel like that's better than giving them, whatever, if they have a big
Life.
beefy creature, a ton of life.
No, the last thing I want to do is give someone more mana to use late game when they're needing to play their finishers. Personally,
I don't know.
I
But
only play Path to Exile. I think I've said this before, but I only play it in decks where I want to target myself sometimes. That's how I know when to play it. Because if I've got 1/1 vanilla creatures that did something when they came out, or that maybe tap to create mana or whatever, but I know they're going to die to a board wipe. Path to Exile is really powerful because I'll just go ahead and trade that mana dork in for a land before the board wipe turn comes up,
Right.
and then it's really powerful in that fashion.
Yep. So Sloan?
I was trying to kind of think through what we're seeing a lot of, and the first thing that kind of popped in my mind for this format is Thassa's Oracle.
Oh no.
And the reason why is because she's not good enough on her own to be a complete auto win, but she has so many things that she can go with that I don't think, because of the fact that there is still a competitive side to EDH, I don't think they could probably ban her.
I think they may ban her. I'm not saying they will. I mean, the Game Changers makes it so at least she has a lifeline, but I think they very well could. I think she's.
I don't think
think
they
she's a
will,
problem
just for the
even-
fact that it's like she is so very specific.
But does she define the format?
She only defines
She-
4 and 5 tiers.
She basically, when she was created, she became this is part of the blue combo to win. She is considered one of the blue combo win cards now.
Right, but the format
Period.
was defined before her, and so how can she be defined?
Well, Arcane
card?
Signet, the format was not defined before that came out. But
Well, I think Arcane Signet fits on here as it's probably not going to be banned, but I don't know if it's
Arcane Signet also
defines the format.
would
Oh,
be
I
really
think it does.
silly to ban because of the fact that it literally says in it, tap for a color equal in your commander's identity.
Well,
So
didn't commands, a command tower, all the free spells, all those.
I would
also
say-
be
I would
grandfathered
say-
in, and I don't know that they are.
I would say
command
command-
tower is good though. That
Well,
how did we
command
skip
tower was-
that one.
Command Tower was specifically made for Commander.
That's got to be
a couple years
after
into it.
Soul Ring. It's got to be Command Tower. Maybe Command Tower before Soul Ring.
The only reason why I say Command Tower is probably not before Soul Ring, before Arcane Signet, and probably after, I'd say it's probably closer to 3, is because there are still monocolored decks, and they
That
don't
will
really
still
care.
play Arcane Signet. They're not going to play Command.
Yeah, they wouldn't play Command Tower if they're mono, because there's no reason to.
No,
And-
but I still think.
And when you think about precons, it's not in everyone, but it's in most Arcane Signet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is Command Tower.
Command
If
Towers,
it's
and
well, they're all multicolored.
yeah, for the most
The
part.
other one
so.
is
But-
the other land that when it taps for the colors in your commander's identity, and then if it has the same creature type, you get to scry.
Okay, well, you're running all over the place.
What is that
We're
one
talking
called?
about Thassa's Oracle, though. I don't think it should be on the list because tiers 3 and below, it's not. It shouldn't even really be in your deck. If it is, you can on 3 only. You can use it late game.
Yeah, I'd say for 4 and 5. it
Technically, you could
defines-
use it in 2.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you
it's
can.
It's on the game.
Oh, that's right. It's on the Game Changers. I forgot. That's why.
I don't
But-
think it defines the format, but maybe it defines CEDH.
I mean, it's one of those cards where as soon as it came out, it's almost like Hull Breacher, except Hull Breacher was way worse, so they banned it because it was just
Yeah.
straight shenanigans, and that card never should have been made. It was one of those cards that when it came out, people looked into it and they said, "Holy cows, this is a game-winning card for blue. If you have blue in your deck, this is a card that you should start considering adding." And it very slowly started creeping into basically every deck that had blue in it. And that's why I'm saying it. I'm not saying because it defines the entirety of the format, but when it came out, it made its way into the format and then consistently showed its face over and over and over again.
We are actually trying to do the cards that do define the format.
I mean, it's hard to think of.
And 2-in-1 can't even use it. I think game changers are gonna have
Right,
a
but
hard sell to be
you're
on
basing it off of a beta bracket guideline system. You can't base it off of that. That's unfair.
I don't think Thassa's Royals Go will ever be off the game changers list.
I don't think it will either, but that doesn't change the fact that.
So I think that game changers would have a hard sell to get on this list because
that
it can't be used in.
But that
two of
should
the
show
five
you
formats.
why they're more important, because they are on that list. They made a name for themselves, and so they had to get
so
put
did
on that list.
Dockside, so did Mana Crypt.
Yeah, but those got
so did
banned.
Joel
Those
Lowe's.
are not on the game changers list. Those are gone.
Right, and I'm saying
in the
Thassa
minds of
could-
commanders, they no longer
I'm
exist.
not saying it's likely, but it could get banned.
Sure, but right now it's not.
But these are cards that says that define the format
Yeah.
and that could not be impossible to ban.
Impossible
Be
to ban.
almost impossible to ban. Thassa's Oracle is not even close to almost possible to ban.
I mean, I don't think it's going to get banned anytime soon.
Well, it maybe
I
gets
don't
an
think-
honourable mention, but I don't think it makes the top 10.
I mean, I'm
because
just
it
saying.
could be banned. You could see a world where it could. It by definition of our rules of this, it can't be on the list.
All right, what's one for you, Duncan?
One for me, Chaos Warp.
Okay.
No,
Why?
it's like when it first came out, it was great. It's like non-existent now. Nobody uses it. It's not
It's
that
not
great.
true. Lots of people use it.
I mean, it's not a great card though. It's like it. I get maybe for red, it's a definable card,
Well,
but I,
mean,
wouldn't
guess
say
I'm
for
picking it
commander.
because
I wouldn't say for
I think
commander.
every color should be represented, and that's probably the one red one that you can definitely see.
No, Jessica's will. But again, that's
No.
a game changer now.
Yeah, it could
But
be banned.
I mean, we can't. It's gonna be hard to do this if we're saying that all the cards that are on the game changers list
I'm
are
not
off
saying
limits.
that. I have some cards that I think
No,
are on the game changers list
it'd be a hard
that are
sell, though.
iconic, and they're not going to be able to ban them.
Yeah, but if you're saying, well, it's on the game changers list, therefore it can't be on this list, then that's.
I said it would be a hard sell. Not it couldn't. It has to
I
be
mean,
one that
just
you're like.
again, Jessica's will is not threatening enough to where it deserves to be banned.
I don't
ever.
disagree with you.
Right, I don't think
disagree
it will
with you.
ever be banned. It's not threatening enough.
It-
Yes, it's very helpful and it's very good, but with it, it's not nearly potent enough to be even considered to be permanently banned. It's just not.
I feel like maybe Duncan might be right because it's in 31% of decks.
Chaos Warp.
And
yeah.
I do feel like people put it in decks a lot of times. The only reason why I have it in decks is it's iconic.
I mean,
It's like,
here's
how
the
do you
thing.
not have Chaos Warp? You
It's-
Because
kinda
it's
have
not
to.
good.
But in
Unfortunately,
red you
it's
have limited options when something
Sure.
has, say, indestructible.
Absolutely. I think a better representation for red would be not Jessica's will.
I think it represents red good because it's chaos. And
It is.
there is a part of Magic that's like, I think back when you think about Magic, you're like, yeah, people make decks that literally just do chaos. And they're like, what? Yeah, it's part of Magic.
Yeah, if
So
you're red.
I mean, I can see the argument for that.
I mean, Jessica's will is somewhat chaotic because you're getting mana based off of the other person. Two, you have to have your commander out to get both. So that card literally was made for commander. If we're going to use that as the staple.
When was this card?
And then three, you are taking a chance that your top three cards are good enough to actually play. Unless you're me, then they're all three lands and you get screwed.
right.
But that's my point, is that Jessica's will says on it, if you control your commander, choose both. Like, it is a commander
Well,
card.
they made it for commander.
Right.
There's a lot of cards.
Well, they
made
also
for
made
commander.
Arcane Signet for
No,
commander.
I know, but Arcane Signet, Jeskai will is not in as many decks as Chaos Warp.
You think so?
I know
You can
so.
look it up.
Look it up. I want to see an actual statistic for that, because he just said 31% for Chaos Warp.
Hold on.
So I want to see Jessica's will, because in my opinion, Jessica's will deserves it way over
I
Chaos
do think
Warp.
Command Tower though should be on the list.
Yeah, Command Tower, absolutely. I think Command Tower should absolutely be on there. I don't see a reason
You
why
want
it
me to look
shouldn't.
up what? How many decks? it's in?
Jessica's will for what its play percentage is. There's no way it's less than 31%. I would be shocked. And if it's less than 31,
17%.
wow, really?
Almost
Way
half.
less. Yeah. All right. So do you
I
want me to
mean-
do my second one, or
Yeah.
I guess I've said a lot.
Right,
of
Chaos
them.
Warp
I
off to the side.
apologize.
We'll see if it makes it on the end.
I got on here. I feel like you should have said this one, but we talked before and you didn't. So I'm gonna say it. But Counterspell It's from Alpha. It's in 43% of decks. It's iconic to Magic. It just
I think
is.
I can get on board with that one.
Yeah, counterspell makes sense. Blue. Just classic. Even the old school art is like super crappy, but I actually have one, and it's like one of those things where like you cast it and someone's like, holy crap, that's an old card. It's like, I got a really old. It's a really old card.
Yep. So I think that's a good one. Sloan, what's your next one?
I don't really have too many other ones because I was a little busy today. So I don't have a lot of other ones. I'll just sit here and argue against or with your guys' points. Ristic Study was one that I thought of. The only reason why this one I'm not as passionate about, because I did think about this one, is just because the actual price tag on it. Like, I feel like that kind of, I don't know, it deters a lot of people from buying it and playing it. There's other cards that are similar. I would almost say Mystic Remore deserves it over, just because Mystic Remore is much older, at least for a while, it was
not on the Game Changers.
Yeah, it's not on the Game Changers Ristic Study. I mean, so
what is your thought, Mystic Remore versus Ristic Study? Do you think there's a clear?
Oh yeah, it's Ristic Study. I don't think they can ban. I don't think they care about banning Mystic.
I
Remora,
think
but
maybe Ristic Study though.
I think it's one of. Oh, go ahead.
Part of its mythology is the fact that it's not just Commander, right? I mean, none of these cards, except for the ones that say you're Commander, are necessarily just Commander. But it's hard to tell where that line is. Is it being defined as part of Commander, or is it just being defined as one of the best cards in Magic or one of the most iconic cards in
Right.
Magic?
Well, I think that's probably true for Swords, Counterspell. Also.
Swords, not so much, I don't think.
Well, it might not be allowed in certain formats because they're not
legal print.
Yeah, it runs right.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. But anyways, there is some truth to that. But I think Ristic Study is just one of those cards that's iconic that they would want to ban. Right? It's on the Game Changers list. They just can't. At this point, so many people have
That's
it. You
a good
just
argument.
can't ban it.
That's a good argument. I
Just
do
wouldn't get
think
away with it.
more so than Thassa's Oracle, I think that one is never going to be banned. I think you could say that with fair certainty.
Now
in
this
Commander.
next one, well,
Unless they find some way to break it with a
I
card.
have one that connects with this. You want to talk about this one here?
Oh, Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah,
Because it's just like it. I think it's the same, but it's more iconic to Commander.
I think Cyclonic
because
Rift.
Cyclonic
I
Rift
think
doesn't work.
if
in
you
other
had to pick
formats
one of those to
as
go
well-
on,
as
I think
well.
Cyclonic Rift more.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would absolutely pick Cyclonic Rift over Ristic. And again, the main reason why is because it has such a big impact in Commander specifically, because most other formats are 1v1 with Commander being a 4-man pod. It has a
You're affecting
lot.
three
Yeah,
other
it's a lot more devastating
I have
overall.
one that used to be,
Um,
but I'll come back to it.
so I'll go ahead and put Sea Rift on there.
I think Sea Rift. We'll come back to Ristic Study if we're struggling for more spots. But I think,
I mean, we're already halfway through,
yeah.
so I don't think we're going to be struggling for spots anytime soon. But I mean, so one of the other ones I was thinking about, and I'll
Well, you
mention
just
this
did that one, sort of.
sort of. Llanowar Elves. Man, is it hard to build a green deck? And that or Birds of Paradise? One of those has got to go on
Well,
here
that's
for
the
green.
one I'm looking up now is Birds of Paradise.
Because
But
Llanowar
I
Elves
think
and
it used
Birds
to
of
be
Paradise.
iconic, but those cards are not as iconic anymore. I feel like 5, 7, 10 years ago, 100% they were format.
I think Birds still
Staples.
has a place.
I think Birds is going
But
to
I
nudge
think
out
the problem with
Llanowar.
Llanowar Elves
it is 27% of decks.
Llanowar Elves, I think, has been pushed out by cards like the Lighted Halfling,
Right.
and Birds of Paradise, where
Yeah, because it
It's
taps
like
for any
any
color.
color.
It kind of pushes out Llanowar. So I would say Birds over Llanowar. But like those types of mana dorks, those 1-drop mana dorks that really produce a lot of value out of them. And Delighted Halfling specifically.
Ooh, and Birds of Paradise is from Alpha.
yeah,
Yeah,
So if we're gonna choose one out of those, I say it's Birds of Paradise.
yeah. All right.
Put
Yeah,
that off
I'd
to
put
the
down
side,
Birds.
maybe. Although I will argue that its importance has dropped off, but not completely. People know Birds, and it's so iconic to art too.
Yeah, because of the whole.
The island and
Yeah,
stuff.
it was supposed to be an island, and
Yeah.
they changed it to that card instead.
Well,
so,
yeah.
Hey, Duncan, what about you?
yeah, you got another one for us?
This one I'm on the fence about. I really think it should be on there, but
I'll push you off. Don't worry.
Necropotence.
Yeah.
I want to fight you on it just because I know Jeff really loves that
Just
card.
because you love fighting me on everything.
No, that's not true. I 100% agree with you that Jeff should die first all the time. I'll never fight you on
that's
that.
Andrew.
Oh, and Andrew. They all should die. Me and you, buddy. Man, necropotence, that's hard.
Jeff?
I mean,
I don't think it defines because
It's-
I would say it doesn't define it because so many people don't play it. Like I remember there was a time where I play it and almost always people are like, "What does that do?"
yeah.
So I don't think it's defining because people don't know they don't
I
play
would
it.
I would almost say if you're thinking about black
It's
cards,
crazy not to play it, by the way.
Vampiric Tutor or Demonic Tutor almost has
Yeah, those are more iconic.
like almost without fail. I think Demonic Tutor is like it and Vampiric Tutor are the two black card like
I feel like for some reason, Magic or Commander embraces both of them, but I feel like it embraces Demonic Tutor more. If you think about the amount of times
Yeah.
you've reproduced
Demonic Tutor
and
it's
the
a
times they've
lot.
given it like really cool art, like
Yeah.
when they did that Japanese. Like,
Yeah, the Japanese one
Yeah.
in the Kabagama, I think it was. They
Yeah.
reprint. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
That one was sick.
They
I think
really
the
haven't-
Japanese foil for that one is still like
They've
$80 or
reprinted-
$90. It's
yeah,
crazy
they've reprinted
expensive.
Vampiric, but it hasn't gotten the really cool
Yeah, it
art.
hasn't gotten the love that.
Yeah, that you know why? Demonic is from Alpha.
Yeah.
It's been around longer.
So Demonic.
Well,
Demonic would be the one I'd pick out of the two then.
man, how old's Vampiric though? Vampiric's got to be like way back there too, I think, right?
I thought so too. I thought Vampiric was going to be the older one, but I don't think so.
Yeah, but
According
Demonic
to this,
Tutor
it's
is like
sixth edition.
okay, so it was later, but still older. I mean, that
Oh,
is
yeah,
an
it's
older
old.
card,
It's an
but
old
yeah,
card.
Alpha Demonic Tutor's got to beat with the. I would probably throw Demonic Tutor in there for sure.
And the nice thing we got here is blue, white, green, black, and red. Well, maybe red.
maybe red.
I'm
We're
t-
trying to-
I'm fighting for Jessica's
If
will.
you had to pick Jessica's Will or Chaos Warp, we're not going to put it on necessarily.
There's
List. We only have
there's
2 spots.
there's
left.
not a world where I would pick Jessica's Will.
really.
Chaos Warp is maybe a maybe for me.
I,
So red
no,
may not
I
have
mean,
a
Will
card
way
on.
I
it.
would
too
I would
new. It's way
absolutely
too
put
new.
Jessica's
I mean,
will.
if you-
Jessica's
if you
will
s-
is legitimately way too good. Like it is for me. If I'm building a red deck and it's almost because it's ramp. It's like one of the few red cards that ramps, right? Because you get red mana
We're not
based off of
arguing
hand.
whether it's powerful.
And then it's one of those cards where it's just
Well, let
it's
me ask you
made
this.
for commander.
If we weren't trying to get, if we're like, we don't care if red doesn't get on the list, do you still think Jessica's Will?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
in 9 and 10 we can find better cards than Jessica's.
I absolutely think Jessica's Will should be on there. It's such a commander staple now, even though it's newer. It hasn't been out a super long time. It's hard to argue that a card that says, hey, when you have your commander out, you get these benefits. It's the same thing with all of those free spells that came out when you have your commander out.
Can I make an argument against both of them for one that might beat it?
Sure.
Blasphemous Act.
Oh,
Blasphemous Act.
Blasphemous
If you're gonna
Act.
pick a red card,
You know what?
Blasphemous Act is it. Damage. Like that
I
is
could
the
see that.
iconic red card.
Yeah, and it costs you 1 red if you have enough creatures out on the
Yeah.
field.
I think
that,
Blasphemous Act just knocked them both out.
Yep.
I mean,
And-
I still
and
have a
it's in
spot for
more
Jessica as
decks,
well,
yeah.
but Blasphemous Act, I mean, that definitely is. That is a. I would say that is absolutely more of a red staple because no matter what kind of red deck you're building, that is a great card to always have in it.
Yep,
Period.
always one of them.
Doesn't matter if you're a creature heavy deck, if you're not a creature, it doesn't matter. It's always a great card to have because you will almost always pay 1 for it. It's very rare that you
Every
pay more
once
than
in a
1.
while I build something with red and I don't put it in there, and there's almost never a time that I don't say I wish I had put it in there.
Right. Yeah. And
I always
even if
end up
it's
putting it in.
even if it's the only board wipe, there's so many things that you can do with it because of the way it board wipes
Yep.
that makes it so iconic with it dealing 13 damage to each creature.
Yep.
I want to see
I
what
love it in
set
my
it came out of.
what's the name? What's her name? The one where give it lifelink and death touch.
Oh, the new chick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Starts with a
about.
J. I can't
Yeah.
think of her name, but I have that deck and I love playing that with her.
Yeah.
13 damage, like say 8 creatures.
Yeah, it's so much life. It's
All right,
crazy.
so we have a couple slots to fill here. The other
One.
one is
We only have 1 left.
Yeah,
We could take something off. If
I
we
mean,
need
yeah,
to.
if we think we can take something off, we definitely can take
well,
something
we
off.
have some cycles like the signets.
You mean the
Arcane,
talismans?
Arcane's the
You mean all the talismans?
No, the signets like Boros signet and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, you're talking about those. I would say the talismans are more.
I don't
Signets.
think either one. Arcane Signet, I think, is.
We
better
could
than
also
any of
choose
those.
basic land. That's good. No, hear me out though. It is iconic to all of Magic, but Commander, because there are other card games that don't have lands like that.
Yeah, the card games, but is not another format that doesn't use basic land.
Then
I mean,
the other
Blood
one
Moon's
that
kinda
was
dirty.
Path. I looked it up a minute ago. I forgot what it was.
Not Path of Exile.
No. The land.
Oh,
How can I
not Shrine of Nixoth. You're talking about the other one.
Yeah, the path.
Oh, kick me.
What about Reliquary Tower?
Oh, that one's pretty good too. That's a really good one. Reliquary Tower, it's hard not to add because it's like almost.
Are you talking about Rogue's Passage?
No, he's talking about the one where if you cast, you can use it for any color commander's
Oh,
identity.
Path of Ancestry.
Path of Ancestry.
That's
no,
the one I
that
would
is
no,
the
that's
one.
a garbage card. Don't even put it on that list.
Why is that a garbage
I don't
card?
play that garbage card.
It's only
But
good
it
for
is
decks if
iconic to match.
it's
Sure. If you want to play crap lands.
All right, then another one that I'm going to bring up because I'm not going to
Reliquary
argue
Tower
with
is way
ridiculous.
better.
What?
I mean, if
Reliquary
you're
Tower.
playing a tribal deck, it's hard not to
I don't
put
think
Path of
so.
Ancestry in there because it's guaranteeing you a scry
I would
every
make a
single time
bid
you
for
cast a
Jin
creature.
Gataxias, but I know that you guys are biased. So.
What's a consistent tribal card? Because we don't. That is very Magic. That's very Commander
I mean,
tribal. Like
Kathar's
what's
Crusade.
the most classic? Yeah, but aren't there colorless ones that are? I'm trying to
There's
think
so
as-
many
there's
now.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's the banner of Valor or something like that.
I'm gonna argue that
Oh.
Mystic Study goes on this list.
Swiftfoot Boots
Yeah.
Oh,
or
gee.
Lightning Greaves.
or Lightning Greaves. Those are like
Actually,
in
as it
every.
turns out, Boots is way above Lightning Greaves.
Yeah, because the downside
I
with
did
Greaves
look
is
it up.
you can't target your own thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to be able to target their own stuff. That's why Greaves isn't as popular. But man, Swiftfoot Boots, Swifties, man. Got to get them Swifts on my commander.
So it's
Keep them
either
safe.
the Boots or I did also think about Skull Clamp, but I think it is the Boots. 28% of decks.
Yeah. I mean, and Boots is, again, it's one of those cards that's been around for a long time, and specifically in Commander, it's such a 2-drop, 1 to equip, and
I
gives
feel
your
like we're
commander
missing
hexproof.
something very
I mean,
important.
we're
we're probably
missing a
missing.
ton of
There's a
stuff.
bunch of stuff.
And
I mean,
that's the
people will
problem.
probably argue the swords. Like one of the swords are iconic
Yeah,
because the.
My thing is, you couldn't pick one of the swords. You'd have
Yeah,
to do all
The
four.
sword cycle, you could
Yeah.
say, but it's not that. You see them so rarely now.
It's because equipments aren't.
Yeah, equipment's kind of fell to
They
the
keep
wayside.
trying to make them
Equipments
relevant.
are good. I don't know. Any artifacts are good.
Yeah, I mean, you have. I'm trying to think of
I'm
what
good
else
with
you kind of
Boots.
have.
I'm good with Boots.
mean,
or what about a
my big
commander?
argument would be
What
Ristic
about a
Study.
commander? What about Krenko?
Yeah.
Don't put Krenko on there.
I don't think there's
Stupid
if you're gonna
Krenko.
name a commander
Brago.
if you're gonna name a commander, you guys are gonna like this that identifies the format. There's 2 of them, and they are always at the top of the most decks made, always.
Atraxa,
And
the Kalia.
the Euro Dragon. It's always Atraxa and the Euro Dragon. Why? Because people love dragons, and Atraxa can do so many different types of decks. That's why she's at the top.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, Atraxa is pretty iconic. She's a four colors, she's just a word soup of abilities,
Yeah.
and she's just
More so than Swiftfoot.
No, my choice is Ristic Study for the last spot.
Oh,
personally.
we're not putting Ristic Study on there.
I mean,
Swift, I would say Swift. I would argue
can get
Swiftfoot's over
behind
Ristic.
but I think
I mean, I would say Swift because Swiftfoot literally you put it almost you can argue to put it in any commander deck. One, it's colorless, so it could go in any commander deck. But two, it's
I
literally
don't
like
hate
a
Swiftfoot
focal
Boots.
point
I don't
of.
hate that as a choice. I just think Ristic Study is more iconic. I just think.
I mean,
to
I
me,
think
it's
the
Magic.
problem is it's blurred whether it's iconic for Magic in general or just for EDH, and
Well,
I think it's Magic
so
in
much
general.
more powerful in EDH, right? Because you're asking the question 4 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
Well,
can't ask
in
more
a lot of the games, it's 4 times.
Yeah.
You play 5 players, and so that's why it's more Commander, is because it becomes so much more powerful in Commander than any other format.
I mean, that is
it just
true.
really opens up. I'm really hard on. I do think Swiftfoot Boots is a great choice, but
Yeah.
I don't know how you skip Ristic Study in a multiplayer game. I just don't. Because do we have anything that represents a multiplayer game here?
Yeah,
No.
Cyclonic Rift,
That's it. No, but you could do that one-on-one.
Blasphemous Act.
Blasphemous Act.
Again, you could.
But both
they
of
don't
these-
really
both-
get that much better if you have more players.
They
Yes,
do. This
You need
gets a
more creatures
lot
to make
better.
it cheaper.
This gets better.
Yeah, this gets a lot
So
better
this
because
one
every
does.
creature. This one also gets a lot better because you're hitting more targets and you're resetting
but-
more people. I mean,
But
it doesn't
it has the
gain
same
you
impact if
benefits.
there's one person. All your enemy's stuff is gone, and your stuff is still there. But I still think it's Ristic Study. I think it definitely is better in this format. It's iconic because everybody's got to pay the 1. It's just becomes.
Oh,
so more powerful.
you know
Or
what?
a wheel. A wheel could also be iconic.
Oh yeah, There's so many wheels that
Yeah,
could.
but how do you pick? Because
You pick Wheel of Fortune. That's how.
Oh
you pick.
yeah, Wheel of Fortune.
most
is-
people
'Cause
can't
it's
even
original.
afford it.
Yeah,
I know,
right,
but it's
pretty iconic.
it's
Like,
original. It's a Wheel. of
Again,
they're
I think
literally named after it.
But I'm
They're
still
called
Ristic-
wheels because
I'm
of
still
Wheel of
Ristic
Fortune.
Study. I'm going. That's my
I mean, you know what actually might be better than Ristic Study that does the same thing?
what?
Consecrated Sphinx.
Yeah, but it's so many people don't have it.
I mean, a lot of people don't have Cyclonic Rift.
Most people like.
It's also a
Most
higher
people have
mana
a
card,
Ristic
so
Study.
people cut it.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure,
Um,
but it's one of those things where as soon as someone plays it, it's very hard to
So
come up to someone.
Are you
and
gonna budge
not-
on Ristic Study? I mean, it looked to me like when he's pointed out, like in the multiplayer format, it really does shine much more than anywhere else.
I would say if your argument is because of the availability of Consecrated Sphinx compared to Ristic Study, I would say Swiftfoot pushes them both out. Swiftfoot is so affordable, and it goes literally, you can put it in any deck and it works, and it's a good card to put in any deck because it's going to save your commander, at least from direct targeted removal, like Swords to Plowshare
We could go
or
a couple
anything
ways
else.
here. We could say.
I mean, it's one of those cards where it's hard to say that it's not good in any deck you want to put it in. It's just good. I get Ristic Study is iconic because it's
I don't
very
put
beneficial,
it in most of my decks.
but it's not because it can't go in them.
Right, yeah.
It's
I
not
don't-
because it
I
can't
don't
go in 'em.
anymore
Well,
either.
I mean, lots of stuff can go in it.
Right,
I
but
really
Ristic
only
is
play it
is
when I have
caged to blue.
have haste.
You know, or protection, or both.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, for like Kalia, because she has to attack you, want her to have haste.
Well, I mean, I think the problem here is we're in a lock because somebody won't budge on Ristic Study.
It's hard to say Ristic Study when one of your countering points is that there's certain cards that are too expensive and people don't have access to, and that's true of Ristic Study also.
Why is that a counterpoint? We have Cyclonic Rift on here.
Right, which
And
We
I-
have Demonic Tutor on here.
I would.
So what the argument can't be it's too
Yeah.
expensive. We have two other very
Well, but that's what you
expensive
just said for countering Consecrated Sphinx is my point.
No,
You just,
just
cards.
the
No, I didn't.
mana
the
value.
mana value is too
The
high.
mana value is too expensive.
sure, it's a little more, yeah.
So we could go to a couple ways with this. We could just go, hey, we have two at the end here. You guys decide. Let them decide. Have them write in their final choice, and that will decide what makes the top 10. Or we could do a vote and just be diplomatic about it. Or we could just put, we have 11. So our top 10 is 11.
Is there anything there that you think Ristic Study is more iconic than?
No. No.
Okay.
I think these are great choices.
Okay.
I'm really happy with this list.
Why don't we do both, and the viewers can break the tie?
Let them decide. Yep.
Yep. So Swiftfoot Boots versus
And this
Ristic
also
Study.
gets me a chance to feel like I have a lot of people tell me I'm right and Johnny's wrong, and I feel like that's good.
Or it could tell you the other.
It won't.
You believe that.
Because you got to remember,
the thing
there's
that works
some
against
people.
me is people that hate Ristic
Yeah,
Study.
that's what I was going to say.
But put your
Nobody
hate
hates
aside.
Nobody
and
hates
just-
Swiftfoot Boots.
That's true because they don't care.
All right. So
And Johnny just took his shit just right. Oh, does it say both?
Yeah.
It says
Swift
Swift
and
versus
Ristic.
I thought it said
Ristic.
Swift foot boots, but I can't.
So,
that's not an R.
okay.
that's our episode for the day. I want to talk about our contest. We are one, as of this morning, I didn't look this afternoon, we're one subscriber away because our last episode we actually only recorded 3 days ago when we said we're at 48.
Right.
And I only got it up 2 days ago
Yeah.
later in the day. So,
So-
it hasn't had that long, but we're at 49. We're definitely going to hit 50. So I am adding some stuff. So to remind you, we're giving away the Marvel Secret Lair foil edition, all of them. We require that you be subscribed to either YouTube or Patreon. You have to email us at cast@commanderspod.com with the subject line contest, and in the body put where you're subscribed. For each place you're subscribed, you get one entry. For Patreon, you get 3 automatically, even if you don't send us your info. Also, there are the secondary prizes, except for one of the ones I'm going to name. You do not need to be YouTube or Patreon. The crossbody bag and the backpack, which are the current backup prizes, you don't
Second
need
and
to
third.
be. As long as you're subscribed anywhere, you get in. But I'm going to add some stuff now. So the first one, you do have to be subscribed to one of those 2. That is right in the middle there. It is the Tricky Terrain Collector's Edition. It is sealed. The box is in fair condition. I took it on a plane with me, so it got a little bit, like the paint rubbed off a little bit, but it's not bent or pushed in anywhere. or
Yeah,
anything
plus
like
open it and play it.
that. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
a good deck. Just you got to add some
Yeah,
stuff.
it's just the blingy version.
Yeah, very cool.
So that's the other big one. I also have here a Commander's Pod T-shirt with our artwork. It's the Commander's Pod poker set rules T-shirt. And then lastly, I have a Secret Lair. It is the Secret Lair Dungeons and Dragons Exhibition of Adventure Rainbow Foil Edition.
Wow, all right.
So I've got that in there. So that's the kind of like stretch goals.
Guys, free stuff.
Let's see how far we can get. We got a couple weeks left. I'd like to see how many subscribers we can get. So send in those entries.
Help.
So that's all the time we have. Oh, we didn't do pro tips. We need a pro tip.
Pro tip. Don't let anyone tell you Swiftfoot boots are trash. They're great.
I don't know who would tell you that, but yeah,
Maybe the guy sitting to my right.
he didn't say that.
He
Good
did. He's denying it. He did.
You
I
literally
said
told me
Swiftfoot
Chaos
Boots
Warp
was
is
trash.
Chaos Warp is trash. I'm sorry. It's just not a good card. At
It
the
is
end
a
of the
good
day,
card.
it's not a good card.
It is a very red card, but anyway.
And-
It's very red card, but it's bad. And everyone has said that on this podcast at one point in time. And they always say we cut it out of our decks because we realize it's not worth it.
Speaking of Chaos Warp,
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
I don't know why I didn't tell this story. So I did it on my, was it that or was it one of the ones that's similar? No, I did my Transmographin. The other spell I do, the Zoyawa's Justice.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I did it on my own thing to try and get something else going. And the thing I had was like imprisoned in the moon or something. But whatever I had, it was no longer useful to me.
Yeah.
So I went through, shuffle, somebody cut, flip right back to what I got rid of.
Yep. Well,
I
there
was
you
like,
go.
"Wow."
He did it.
Yep,
You
I got a round of applause
unlocked
for
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So thanks for joining us. Don't forget, if you want to check us out, commanderspod.com. You can always email us. Email us which you think makes the list, or if you think we missed things. I'm sure we did. There were things we discussed like Gaia's Cradle, but they are on the watch list, and it could possibly someday be banned. Probably not, but
Get out of here.
I'm just saying it could.
I mean, I'm just saying.
If I liked it as much as you
Your-
did, Jeff, it would get banned.
your
but
other
since I
favorite-
don't,
Your other favorite podcast that you listen to, they did say T-Pro should have been on the Game Changers list. Just saying.
Yeah, but the people had class, skill, and taste
No.
who didn't put it on there. Good
tastes
job.
like chicken.
Tastes like bulls. What it tastes like.
Anyway, email at CastixCommandersPod.com, whether it's to enter the contest, whether it's to tell us which one should have won our number 10 spot, or tell us what we missed that you think should have made the list, or what we put on there that you think it's garbage, shouldn't be on there. Let us know. Patreon.com/CommandersPod. We'd love to have your support. And don't forget, we're still in March, so free Jingataxius.
Commander's Pod, where the stories unfold with heroes and villains.